So what is Jenkins? So Jenkins is developed by Sun Microsystem. Then now the Oracle acquired for Jenkins. So also we have already covered Jenkins used for to build the project and to write the CI/CD pipeline, and also to integrate all the various build tool depend upon the project requirement. So this is just a short history about the Jenkins. Now the Jenkins is managed by Hudson. So Jenkins has two versions. One is the free version, that is a community, and one more is the they have the Jenkins paid enterprise version, also cloud based like this. So here we can see that Jenkins act as a CI server, continuous integration tool. Okay. So in the real-time scenario for a project, we use Jenkins for Jenkins architecture. There are two types of architecture. One is the Jenkins standalone architecture, and one more is the Jenkins master and slave. Okay, generally for the small and medium project, we use a Jenkins standalone project. So here in the diagram, we can see that where the developer checking the code. So using the source code management tool. So in the market now that we have the source code management tool like GitHub, GitLab, Azure Repo, SVN, like many other tools. So mostly used tool is GitHub, GitLab, and Azure Repo, and also SVN. So here developer checking the code, commit the code in a GitHub repository, and that GitHub we will integrate into the Jenkins server. And in the Jenkins server, so depend upon the code, like is it Java, Python, Node.js, or .NET, any other. So we have to add the build tool in the Jenkins. So here we'll here in Jenkins we will add we will integrate GitHub and Jenkins, and we will write here a CI/CD pipeline code, all the environment details in the Jenkins server, and we deploy to the code. So this is a standalone architecture of Jenkins. So here, so in this diagram, what we do, we'll install and configure Jenkins. We'll integrate GitHub build tool and the destination environment details. Okay, production server in details in the Jenkins. We'll add the CI/CD pipeline according to all the configuration, and we deploy the code. Okay, so here Jenkins act as a continuous integration and continuous deployment tool. Then we have the one more Jenkins architecture, that is a master and slave. So generally this architecture is used for enterprise application or enterprise microservice. There are a number of microservices, okay, or medium to enterprise application. So here, so this architecture is mainly used for to distribute a load. So if you are the enterprise application, so one single Jenkins server can't handle all the load. So that's why here we will create a master and slave node, and we will distribute the load on the master and slave. So here master can act to manage all the slave nodes. There in this scenario, if you want to build the same, like build into the different destination environment, like Windows, Linux, Mac OS, okay, like this. So for different OS also, we have the different commands and different configuration that we have to manage in the Jenkins server. So for that scenario, we use the Jenkins master and slave. So this is one of the example to distribute load. So uh, when we use this Jenkins and master slave, first is the for enterprise application, and second to distributed environment, like we have the one build that we have to deploy to the different environment. Then we will use this Jenkins master and slave architecture. Okay, and some scenario like we have the same build and we have to deploy to the different type of OS. And second is that to distribute the load. Those scenario we will use the Jenkins master and slave concept. So in the our DevOps course, we will cover all this scenario. Okay. Jenkins whole CI/CD pipeline, as I shown you diagram, and this master and slave also. So now next, we will cover the Jenkins installation on the AWS Ubuntu EC2 instance. So here we can use the Jenkins official site, jenkins.io, and here we can get all the documentation. You can read more about the Jenkins. So now next we will cover the how to install Jenkins on the AWS Ubuntu EC2 instance. So here I have logged into the AWS. Let me go to the EC2. And here I have all the steps to install Jenkins. So before installing Jenkins, we have to check about the prerequisite. So here we need, for hardware requirement, we need a minimum 256 MB of RAM, 1 GB of hard disk. Then recommended for a small team, here 4 GB of RAM, 50 GB of disk. Then we need a software like a Java, web browser, and Linux OS. So here also you can visit to the official documentation of Jenkins. So here we will select Linux. Then we are going to install on the Debian or Ubuntu. And here we have all the prerequisites. So let's start. So I have logged into the AWS console. Then we will select EC2. And let's wait to load. Then click on instance running. Then right side we have the option launch instance. So here, once you go to the EC2 instance, let's search Ubuntu. Here, we will select the new version of Ubuntu, that is 22. Click on right side select. And as per this requirement, we need this one, this much of CPU and RAM. So here we will select the P2 small. Then click on configure instance detail. There keep the setting. So if you are custom in your organization, if you are using the custom VPC, so by default this setting will be the disabled. Okay, so here we are using the default VPC. VPC's name is default, so that's why it is a enable mode. So that before that we have to check this one VPC, then which subnet we are going to use, then auto assign public IP, then and remaining setting. So here we are using the default VPC, that is why default setting. Then click on add storage. So let's add the 20 GB storage. Then click on add tag. Here, this is the optional choice to add tag. Then click on configure security group. Here we have to select the security group. Here we will select the default security group. Then we have to check the port numbers. Okay. Then click on review and launch. And let's verify all the settings. Then click on launch instance. Then last option is to select the key pair. Here you can create a new key pair or you can select your existing key pair. So here I have the existing key pair. Then click on acknowledge. Then click on launch instance. And so now instance in launching in state. Now the right side, bottom right side, click on view instance. So instance creation is pending. So let's label it Jenkins. Okay, here you can visit official documentation for the before installing. We have to check the system requirement, is hardware and what packages we need. Then after that, here we have to select your OS. So here we are going to install on the Ubuntu. So select on Debian or Ubuntu. Then here in official documentation, we have all the steps, all the command to install Jenkins. So these commands I have already installed. So before that, here it is saying that after the hardware requirement, we need Java web browser and OS. So now our OS is ready. Now next we will select to install the Java. So Java requirement, what Java we need. So there are different versions Java versions are available. Like we need a Java 8 or 11. We will use a Java 11, like we have the OpenJDK, Oracle, Java, like this. So here we will use the OpenJDK 11. So now our instance is ready. Now click on the details. Here we have the public IP. Copy the public IP. Open the putty. You can use the putty or mobile external. So I give the public IP. Select the key pair. So already I have the key pair. Then click on open. Accept. Let's increase the font size. Okay, default username for the AWS Ubuntu instance is Ubuntu. Okay. Now we have connected to the AWS Ubuntu EC2 instance. Okay, so now we have selected the Ubuntu 22.04. So if you go Ubuntu site, Ubuntu download. So latest version is Ubuntu 22.04 LTS, and this is valid for till the April 2027. Okay, and here it is recommended for normal use 2 GB, 4 GB, 25 GB, all this one. And here you can, if you want to install on your laptop, then also you can download it and install. Okay, so here to check the Ubuntu OS version, what is the command? Command is cat etc then OS-release. So using this command, we can check the Ubuntu, install the Ubuntu version. So here we can see Ubuntu 20.04 name version of this one. To clear the screen, command is clear. So as we have seen that, first we have to install the Java. To install Java, open JDK 11. Command is sudo apt install open JDK 11 and JDK. So let's start command. Type Y. Let's wait to complete. Okay, open JDK 11 is installed. Let's clear the screen. To check Java version on Ubuntu, command is Java space -version. Here we can see that version of OpenJDK 11.0.15. Now next. So as per the official documentation, we have installed the OpenJDK. Then now we will install Jenkins. So here command is this. We can see this command. First command curl, then echo dep, then update, then install. So what is the meaning of these commands? So first command is to download or add official Jenkins apt repository. So here, what is the apt in Ubuntu? So for different OS, we have a different package manager. So if you want to install any tool on the any OS, so first we have to add that respective package manager to the in the OS. Like for Ubuntu, package manager is apt. For CentOS, Red Hat, package manager is yum. Okay, for Windows, we have the .exe and or .dll. Then Mac OS, there is a different. Okay, so like this for every OS, we have the different package package manager to install. So for that, if you want to install any tool on the any OS, so first we have to add the package manager. So these official documentation given the latest to install Jenkins. First we have to add the package manager. This is package manager URL. Okay, and then for this package manager we have the separate a list path. Okay, here we can see that for this Ubuntu base OS, so package list is etc apt source.list.d. Okay, here we have to create it is creating in this directory list, it is creating Jenkins.list and it is adding this Jenkins official package manager. Okay, so for different OS, there is a different path to add the package manager. So you got it. So now next command is, first we have to add the Jenkins apt repository key using curl or wget. So what is wget and curl? If you want to download any package on Linux, you can use either curl or wget command. So here first we will add Jenkins apt repository using wget, and this is the official URL. Okay, our apt URL. So let's copy this command. Now now we have to append this package. So here we have downloaded it. Okay, we have downloaded into the this one. Next we have to append this package repository to the server's source.list. So like this we have this command. Now next we have to update package. Why? We have to update run this apt update so that apt will use the new repository whatever we have added about two commands. Now let's run sudo apt. Okay. Now next, as per this official, next last step is to install Jenkins. Command is sudo apt-get install Jenkins. Then type y. Let's wait till complete. So here it is downloaded from the official Jenkins repository, all the packages. Then it is creating the systemctl service into the lib systemd system and Jenkins dots service. Okay, now the Jenkins is successfully installed. Let's clear the screen. To check Jenkins is installed, Jenkins is installed, and Jenkins service is running or not. Command is sudo system ctl status Jenkins. Okay, now here we can see that Jenkins is installed and Jenkins service is running. If it is not running, then we can use this start command, stop, restart, all these commands. Okay. Okay, next. Okay, to access the outside Jenkins from the web browser, okay, then we have to open the firewall routes. So Jenkins default port is 8080. To allow access from the outside, we have to open this 8080 port. We can change this port also 8080, but default port this one. So if you have set up Jenkins in your own system, then you have to use there is a firewall in Ubuntu. The name is UFW. Then here you have to open this port number. The command is sudo UFW allow 8080. Then yes, it is like this, and these are the command. But here we have already configured into the in AWS. So here we have to open the port, all these port numbers into the security group. So here click on the security group, then click on edit inbound rules. Here you can open the port numbers. So by default, this is our practice purpose. So by default, I have opened all the ports. So that's why all the ports are open. If you want to open the particular port number, here you can click on add rule custom TCP port number. Then here to allow how this setting you can do. And you have configured Jenkins into your local system or data center, then you have to use your local firewall to open the port to access Jenkins from the outside. Then how to check Jenkins version, which version is installed. So here is the command. So here we can see the Jenkins version 2.332.3. Okay, so this is command to check Jenkins version. Now we have installed Jenkins. Now we will configure the Jenkins. To configure Jenkins or to access Jenkins from the outside on the browser, go to the instance. Then copy the public IP. Then open the browser. And already I have told you that the Jenkins port number, default port number is 8080. Okay. Now the Jenkins is open and it is asking to unlock the Jenkins. So once you open the Jenkins dashboard, so it is asking to unlock the Jenkins. And by default, when you install Jenkins, so default password is stored in this location. Okay. So let's go to the Jenkins this terminal. Then we have to go to this password to check the default password. So let's copy this path. Then to check the password, command is sudo cat. Okay, let's switch to the root user, sudo su. Then what is the path? Where lib Jenkins, then initial admin password. So here we can see the default Jenkins password. Let's copy this, then paste here. Then click on continue. Here we have the next option. So already we have seen that we have to configure the different tools in the Jenkins. So how we can achieve this? So directly, can we direct tools in the Jenkins? So answer is no. For that, to add any tool or integrate any tool in Jenkins, there is a plugins in Jenkins. Okay, so we have to configure the plugin. So by default, there is a default plugins, and we can customize the plugin. So for now, depend upon our task, we will install those plugins. But for now, we will go with the default plugin. So let's select down the install suggested plugin. So here default plugin are folders, pipeline, Git, LDAP, GitHub, SSH, Gradle, and all these plugins. So like we have seen that in the introduction, when the developer check in the code from the GitHub, then source code gets built. So if you want to add the GitHub into the Jenkins, so first we have to install the GitHub plugin. If you want to build the Java project using the Maven in Jenkins pipeline, then we have to add the Maven plugin. So like depend upon the task, our tools to integrate, we have to install the plugins in Jenkins. So let's wait for installation to complete. Okay, now the plugins are installed, and now the next screen came. Here it is asking to create admin user. So by default, there is admin user. Now also we can create a new admin user in Jenkins. So let's create user with the password. Then once you fill the all details, then click on save and continue. Now here it is asking to URL and port number. So in your project, if you want to assign URL and different port number, Jenkins to run on different port number, you can change the port number. So for now, we are going to keep or use only default port number, that is 8080, and change settings according to requirement. Then click on save and finish. Then now Jenkins is ready. Now click on start using Jenkins. So now here we can see that Jenkins default dashboard. So here we can see that in left side, if you want to create, so in Jenkins we create the job. Okay, so here, so you have to remember the terminology for different tools. Like the Jenkins will create the CI/CD pipeline, and for each pipeline we can see here, we can call it as a job. And to create a job, here we have the option new item, and here we have the different job name like freestyle project, pipeline, multi-branch pipeline, organization folder. Like here we can create a pipeline. Then if you want to add a user, here we can add the we can see the users. Then to configure Jenkins, here we have the option manage Jenkins. So here in manage Jenkins, we have the options like configure system, global tool configuration. So as per diagram, here we have seen that to integrate all these tools, we have to add or integrate this tool into the Jenkins pipeline. So here we have the options like the configure system. If you want to add any system and you want to deploy the code from the Jenkins, so here you can configure the system. Here we have different options. Also you can set the email notification here. And we have seen that, and we have to install the plugins also. So if you want to add any plugin, you can go here, manage plugin, and here we have the option available, then install. So by default, we have installed all these plugins. Some is install plugin are in the right check. Then available, these are the available plugin. Suppose if you want to install the GitHub, so here you can search GitHub and you can install the plugin. Like here, different plugins are available for the GitHub. So now from the next session, we will see this depend on our task. We will install the plugins. Suppose if you want to add the Maven, you can add this those plugins. So in manage Jenkins, you can add the plugins. You can configure the system. In also we have the global tool configuration. Here we can add the custom your Java path, Git, Gradle, and Maven. All these options we have. Okay. Then if you want to add any nodes, so like we have seen that we are going to cover master and slave node. So here we can add the other nodes and we can select which act as a master or which as a slave like this. Then we can add the credential in manage credentials, then global security, system log, all this one. How do we have the option? So in the CI/CD pipeline, we are going to use this configure system, global tool, manage plugin, nodes. Then if you want to add any credential, then you can add here. Global credential, if you want to add here. So these are the options. And if you want to check build history, here you can check. So this is all about the Jenkins installation and configuration.